Okay, hello everyone. Welcome. My name is Ines. I have Lloyd here. Haja, could you come over here, please? Welcome to our last series of our training certificate. I would just explain to you a little bit why we're here and where we got the funds. So the city gave Regent Park $2.5 million for tenants in the community. And it's social development plan where residents apply for those grants to do training certificates or workshops and stuff. We got a grant, we've been doing it for a whole year. I'm just gonna read what we've done. We did CPR standard, we did twice, we had 31 participants. We did CPR emergency, we had 32 participants. Speaking with confidence, we had 38 participants. How to lead a meeting, we had 13 participants. Mental health first aid, we had 41 participants. Advocacy, we had 31. Community trauma awareness, we had 33 participants. And the reason why we do this is because we need to enhance our TCAC tenants for them to have more of experience and apply for jobs. And speaking with confidence, I saw that I took a speaking with confidence maybe about 15 years ago. And people say, why are you taking it? But there is a whole bunch of stuff that you learn from speaking with confidence. It has helped me along the way, even though I have a second language, and for me, there's some words I cannot pronounce. But that doesn't stop me, because there will be always people that will tell you, oh, what do you mean? You can't speak clearly. It doesn't matter. You have to have that confidence and speak. It doesn't matter how it comes out, but just say it and don't be scared of speaking the language in English, even though that's your second language. Don't ever let that stop you. So we're here today to do this event, and we're grateful for everybody that has participated and come, and grateful to the city that gave us the funding. We have Lisette that took our speaking with confidence, advocacy, and how to lead a meeting. She's going to give a little of what her experience from taking those training certificates.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lisette Kasul. I'm a resident of Regent Park, and I've been living here over 10 years. And before joining Safety Network and learn about the training certificates, I was a stay-home mom, raising 6 kids, and always busy running here and there and try to find a place for my kids to go, and after school programs, and I was always busy. Inez was always like, Lizette, come and be part of this group. I was like, I'm busy. I'm always busy. But then one day I decided to come to one of the meetings, and I learned about the Safety Network certificates, and I took how to speak with confidence first. And I learned that you have to be yourself first before letting people judge you, like, oh, you cannot speak properly, you have accent, and you are not good enough. So all these words you have to block in order for you to be confident and be out there and be more engaged. And I also learned about how to advocate for yourself and others during that advocacy course, which I was doing this before taking the course advocacy, because it's always helping people and make sure they're okay. And also took how to speak with confidence certificate. And today I run a group called Women's Health Social Circle Support Group, which is led by women only. And we give them opportunity for them to share their feelings, and we lead them. We bring them resources in the community, what's going on in the community, information, and also we try to encourage them to look for a job and find a career. And we do that every Wednesday, and I'm one of the project coordinator, and I'm the one who facilitates the meeting every week. And now we are trying to empower those women to give them a chance to facilitate a meeting every month. And they're really happy to be there. And yesterday we have like almost the room full of 33 women in this group. So I'm so blessed to take this training certificate, which helped me a lot. And I put all those training certificates, all the quality, all the knowledge I got in my resume. And I got a job with the Bowsfields. And I'm really blessed to have that in my resume, just to fill the gaps of these 10 years just raising the kids. And so I hope, more women come forward and take this course. I'm always telling people to come, and I think they're going to come late, but yeah, the word is out there, and they're very excited to come and join NS and all this 10 certificate that Safety Network is providing. Thank you so much, and enjoy. Yeah.
Stay here. My friend Lizette here is a prime example of what we wanna happen, what we wanna speaking with confidence and how to lead a meeting. This is what we want the women in Regent Park to have. I wish I was Lizzie like 10 years ago when I was raising my kids. I don't wait until I finish all of them. Like, you can raise your kids and you can still do something for yourself. That's what we want the women to realize, not just taking the kids to school, come back home. There's a lot to do in the community. There's a lot. The community need us. That's what I'm trying to say. So we want the women to come and to experience. And I went to Lizette group. Yeah. It was wonderful. The women that are there, like a lot of the women we talk. And now I want her, if she can take me, I want to join her group too.
Yes, you're taking already.
So yeah, so this is what we want. This is Ines' dream. This is Ines' vision. So yeah, we are, we are coming. Like we will make Regent Park even stronger than this. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to add one more thing. Those women, they're incredible, intelligent. But the problem is they need encouragement. Mm-hmm. They believe that they cannot do anything. They we don't have knowledge, we don't have skills, but they do have. The quiet ones are the smartest ones. When they open their mouth, you're like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. So my goal is to empower them and to bring them to all those 4 working groups, so they have a lot to say, and their vision and their aspiration for this community is so big that if they come together and join and help this community grow, Regent Park is going to be a better place for our kids in the future. Yeah. So.
Thank you. So, and I just want to say we have youth empowering youth here. We have Gerard from TCAC Security. We have our fire department here, and we're having a workshop soon, our workshop with Amanda. It's suicide prevention and violence risk, the workshop. Lloyd?
See, you leave the best for last, right? So I just wanted you all to know that. And now I got nothing to say. One of the things that I think that really shows that when you give residents of TCHC that decide that they want to participate or be a part of something, and they get the opportunity to be leaders in this community, they can show how much strength, knowledge, wisdom, and courage to move forward and be trained to be able to be leaders in this community so that we can help others to do the same. The more that we can empower the TCHC tenants and those that see us do the work, those that are happy to see, oh yeah, now I got a place to go, that they can fulfill a dream, feel confident, feel proud, feel that they can go out and get money, buy a house, whatever. But the opportunity that people that live in TCHC we don't get, we're trying to make sure they get that opportunity so that they can be leaders in the community and go to school, go to university, and be able to lead workshops like we do. I didn't know much when I started this. And I'll just mention I'm also visually impaired. And the knowledge that I've learned from Inez, Haija, hopefully they learned something from me, is that as tenants of TCHC, we come together, we're leaders. We're inspirational people. We want to encourage others to spread the word that these workshops, from the action plan booklet that we have out that's been put together about 4 years ago now, is what we take our workshops from, and trainings. So we just want people to know that this is what we can do, and we're always hoping for others to come and join us and be leaders with us. Thank you.
So we're supposed to have a special guest, but she's running late. We'll do that after when she comes, as soon as she comes in. Meanwhile, we're going to start our workshop with Amanda. Please join Amanda for the workshop, and thank you. And there is empanada, samosa, fruits. Help yourself. There's water, coffee, tea. I know it's hot, but some people still drink coffee. I don't. So I'm a Latina. So please help yourself. And please enjoy the workshop that Amanda is going to be hosting right now. Thank you.
I've facilitated many of the mental health first aid trainings in various communities in Regent Park with Soraya, a wonderful person, and with Inez, and some other individuals here. So the topic today is going to be violence risk and suicide prevention. I also have Tyrone with me and Selena from the Lawrence Heights community, and they're our guest speakers. And towards the end of the presentation, they're going to share some of their experiences with violence in the community, and also share some of the ways that they mitigated some of those risks and reduced instances of violence in the community. Well, before we get started, we just want to respect confidentiality. Many people in this space will share stories, perhaps of some experiences that you had with violence in the community and some of the ways you've overcome some of those challenges. So we want to listen actively, avoid checking our phones, our emails. We want to respect others' opinions, so focus on ideas instead of specific words that are being said. And we want to value the strength of diverse input. So understanding that everyone's experience is different and that we all view things in different ways. We all have different lived experiences, which leads to different worldviews. So just be respectful of everybody's comments that other people are making. So this is a safe, non-judgmental space. Once again, share from your own experience. Avoid using words like we, and instead say things like I. And it's not just what you say, but remember, it's how you say it. So be conscious of your nonverbal responses, and give everybody an opportunity to speak if they wish, and just have fun and have a good time. All right, so some of the objectives for this workshop today. First, we're going to talk about situations that have a high probability for violence in the community, how to mitigate risks of violence, how to recognize the signs of suicide, and how to prevent suicide. And we're going to talk about a new program called the Toronto Community Crisis Service, which is a new program with the City of Toronto, where now you no longer have to call 911, but you can call 211, and they'll send a team of community crisis responders out to help with the situation if somebody's experiencing a mental health crisis. And then we're going to hear from our guest speakers. And I understand sometimes, the topic of suicide can be heavy. If you are triggered by any of the content, just feel free to step outside, and either Selena or Tyrone, they will come out and talk to you, since they are mental health first aid responders, if you are triggered by any of the content. So with that being said, I'm just going to ask,
If you're going to the washroom, just give a thumbs up. And if you don't give a thumbs up, they'll know that you need someone to come out and speak with you, and they'll come out and have a conversation with you. All right, so we're just going to start off with some statistics from Toronto Community Housing. So at the end of 2021, Toronto Community Housing, the stats, that I'm going to speak about are for the ending of the quarter for 2021. So Toronto Community Housing represents about 4% of the population of Toronto, which is a lot, right? When we think about the incidents that happen on Toronto Community Housing properties, or some of the instances of violence that you may experience, that's 4% of the population of Toronto. About 5.4% of shootings in Toronto happen in Toronto Community Housing communities, and 14.1% of shootings are non-related to Toronto Community Housing communities. And when I pulled these stats, I was shocked. I was like, this is actually very encouraging to know that, at least 14% of these shootings, not encouraging in the sense that there are shootings, but there's far less shootings that are actually happening on Toronto Community Housing property. And sometimes we find that it's over publicized, especially when there's incidents that happen in Toronto Community Housing properties. For instance, I reside in the Jane and Finch community, and one thing that we have been talking to the reporters about and reaching out to the media about is, please, when something happens that is not directly on Toronto Community Housing property, can you please state the actual intersections where these things are taking place, or the actual communities, so that the Toronto Community Housing neighborhoods do not continue to get a bad reputation, right? Because often a lot of the shootings or incidents of violence that occur, they don't usually happen in the neighborhood, but because it's in close proximity to it, they'll say, oh, this incident happened in Regent Park, or this incident happened in Lawrence Heights, or in Jane and Finch. That's one thing to keep in mind, that only 5.4% of the shootings in Toronto actually happened in Toronto Community Housing communities at the end of 2021. And these are just some more stats. So I'm just going to focus on the fourth quarter, so the end of 2021. So when we look at the amount of firearms that were actually discharged and caused a danger to life in 2021, there wasn't that much incidence, right? We have some suspects that suffered accidental self-inflicted gunshot wounds to the head, and where Toronto Police Services did lay charges. In 2021, we also experienced attempted homicides where young people were shot. And these stats are pulled directly from the Regent Park community and Lawrence Heights community. And then in the end of 2021, there were some more homicides and shootings. And we're going to, a little bit further into the presentation, we're going to talk about ways that you can protect yourself when these incidents are taking place. So for instance, if you happen to be outside at a party or a barbecue and there's a shooting, or there's an active shooting taking place, how can you protect yourself? How can you protect your family? If you happen to be in your building, maybe you're in a staircase, which was a recent incident that my neighbor experienced, not in this community particularly, where her son was coming down the staircase and there was an actual shooting taking place. What do you do when you're in a situation like that? We're going to get into that shortly. All right. So some more stats here. So when we look at the end of 2021, with Toronto Community Housing actions for some of the high needs community. So this is like the broader Dan Harrison community. We had calls for service. So one call can have multiple incidents. So at the end of 2021, there was 4,308 calls for incidents that had to do with violence in community. For incidents that had to do with violence in the community. For crimes against Toronto Community Housing properties, at the end of the fourth quarter, so the end of 2021, there was 118 incidents. And total crimes against people, there were 71 total crimes against people. Serious violent incidents, 26. And once again, this data is pulled from the broader Dan Harrison community, as well as the Lawrence Heights and the Regent Park community. So communities where they experience high incidence of violence. Serious violence incidents, so incidents that might have caused bodily harm, there was 26 reported cases. Other incidents, 45. There was 92 arrests made, right? 92 arrests made at the end of the quarter, and 18 tenant arrests. 70 non-tenant arrests, and 4 that were not specified. And this number is very encouraging as well. So when we look at the wellness checks that have been taking place, or welfare checks, there was 327 welfare checks that took place across these communities. And one of the things that I really just want to commend, like Soraya and Ines for, is having the community members certified, applying for those grants so that many of you could become first aid, mental health first aid responders and ambassadors for the community. In those roles, many of you were part of those well-being checks. I've sat down in many of the trainings and heard from residents in the Regent Park community that have said, I went out to respond to a neighbor that was impacted by violence. I supported a youth that was having suicidal ideations, or I supported a resident that was having challenges with substance use, right? So this wellness check, it just speaks volumes to the work, the already great work that the community's doing, and that capacity building piece that was just shared by our speakers. And then we also had 273 trespass incidents, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. What do you do when you recognize somebody in your community? You recognize somebody that's not from your community. We all have those signs on our front door. Please do not open the front door for strangers. But what do you do when you do feel threatened and that person is maybe banging on the door, or let me in, or you're worried, what if I don't let that person in and they see me again? What if that creates a problem? We're going to get into that as well. All right, so Toronto Community Housing did implement some activities to help to reduce some of the violence that was taking place in the community. And here I have a report of some of that violence reduction activity. So we had 27 at the end of the quarter safety audits. They also increased patrols of their community safety unit, officers on foot. And in Regent Park specifically, they hired 8 full-time CSU officers that were assigned to 4 teams, and 2 officers that were working rotating 12-hour shifts at peak activity hours 7 days a week. So there's 8 full-time CSU officers working in the Regent Park community, and they're usually out here around peak hours. Do any of you notice your CSU officers around the community patrolling? The new 8 full-time? Okay, so that could be something that you guys can bring. Is that something you would address, Journey? So the officers are not visible to the community members, and they're supposed to be around patrolling at peak hours, because there's 8 of them that were hired full-time, and they're supposed to be rotating 12-hour shifts in teams of 2. They also had about 87 engagement activities, and continued to support residents with initiatives that they can do to support capacity building. And one of the things I also want to highlight with Toronto Community Housing, if you are a tenant rep, is that we now have the Tenant Actions Fund, which opened up about, I'd say, a month ago. And you can apply, even if you're not a tenant representative and you're just a resident, you can apply, to do capacity building workshops in your community, maybe a mental health training workshop, a barbecue. These are things that you can do to foster well-being in your community, right? And overall mental health and safety through the Tenant Action Funds. So you can speak to your tenant representative, or maybe your community coordinator for Toronto Community Housing to get more information about that. So when we look at some of the stats for the violence reduction activity in Regent Park, so the last 2 lines at the bottom of this chart, we see that for calls for service from the violence reduction program from families was 517. So the Violence Reduction Program received about 517 calls from families in the Regent Park and Girard River community. From senior residents, about 15 calls, which is a very low number. So whatever you guys are doing in your community to support seniors, their well-being, it's working. So I encourage you to continue to do that in your community. The security? Oh. Yeah, and that's a concern, not just in the Regent Park community, but in a lot of communities, is the response time for the police. And I've had a conversation with some of our community officers, and they said that unfortunately, like there's, the calls are prioritized, right? So if you don't call it about a shooting or maybe an incident that has to do with drugs or some form of emergency in the community that has to do with violence, the response time is low. You'll be placed at the bottom of the list. But thankfully and gratefully, we have the 211 program now with the City of Toronto, where it's an alternative to calling 911. And if somebody is experiencing a mental health crisis, you can call 211. If you can't get through to 211, then you can call the police and let them know, I don't want a police to respond, but can you please have a mobile crisis responder come out to assist the individual that's experiencing the crisis. And we're gonna get more into that in a second. All right, so some of the concerns that has been brought to my attention, not only in this community, but other marginalized and low-income communities, is the gang activity. How do I prevent my child or my teenager from getting drawn into gangs? How do I keep them out of that cycle, right, of the justice system that many people end up falling into? And I've done many workshops, even at York University and with many of the youth in my community, and they've shared that, you know, I didn't want to get involved in gangs. I didn't want to have to go do this robbery. I didn't want to have to end up in the justice system. But what do I do when my friends are knocking on my door and they're like, you have to come out or you need to come through? I can't tell them no, right? And how do you have that conversation with your teenager to let them know that it's okay to say no? You don't always have to give in to that peer pressure. You don't always have to say yes, even when you think that, you know, it might hurt your reputation or your friends might not look at you the same way anymore. Has anybody in here been in a situation where maybe not necessarily gang activity, but where they felt that they were being negatively influenced by somebody in the community, or maybe you felt your child was being influenced or pulled into something in the community?
Not pulled, but threatened.
Okay.
Threatened where it was either you die or I die.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. For those of you who don't know me, and I hope all of you do, because I feel like I've seen all of you and know all of you and your friends, and I'm seeing all the faces. My name is Marcy Ian. I'm the Member of Parliament for Toronto Centre, and I'm also and proudly, the Minister for Women and Gender Equality and Youth. I am so proud to represent you, and there are a couple of things that I want to say. It feels like it's been 10 years because so much has happened, but in reality, it's been 2 years. October of almost 2 years of 2020, when there was a by-election, ran in that election. But here's the why part, because it's the part that I don't always talk about, and I haven't always talked about. And I had been a journalist for a really long time. That was my job. And the last part of my career before I left, I was on a talk show. And I spoke a lot on that show about being Black in Canada and being a Black woman in Canada and being a mom of Black kids in Canada, having immigrant parents. I don't know how many of you have heard my story or looked me up. Many of you may not, but I was born in St. Jamestown. I was born at 700 Ontario, and when my parents came from Trinidad in the 60s, that's where they landed. And so they came basically with nothing, and they came here to go to school. And so I was born there, and my sister as well. She's a little bit older than me, and so she went to Rose Avenue, and we moved to Scarborough when I was in grade 1. And so I was raised in Scarborough, born in St. Jamestown. And then through a whole bunch of school and working and all the things, I landed at CTV. And I was at CTV for 23 years. And another station before that, before I left. But I go back to the social part and being on the show when George Floyd was killed. Because for me, that started everything. That started this, right? And that's a part of the story that a lot of people don't know, but I'm telling you here today, that I was sitting there on this show feeling very comfortable, safe, and thinking, how do I serve better? Because right now, I'm seeing headlines that point to all of the things that are happening in the States, and that's still happening now. And the headlines are saying, but this doesn't happen in Canada. This can't be in Canada. Look at the people over there. Look at the States, how bad it is. And my experience, growing up where I did, I can tell you right now that half of the people I went to school with in Scarborough are either in jail or they're dead. That's my reality. Okay, so when I come to this job, I come with that perspective. That's my reality. And people, sometimes look at me and they think, oh, you come from privilege, That's not true. Maybe now, right? And I own that, but that's not where I'm from. And that's not who most of my lifelong friends are. That's not the deal.
Humble beginnings.
Humble beginnings. And still, I feel that way all the time. I still feel like the kid from Scarborough. And sometimes, I'm at these tables now, and I so badly wanted to be at the cabinet table when I was asked, because I thought, this voice of mine, and where I come from and where we come from, needs that voice. And the fact of the matter is, it wasn't really there. It wasn't, right? It's not lost on me that it took 20 years in this country to have another black female cabinet minister. 20 years. Jean Augustine was the first. 20 years. I'm so we pride ourselves on diversity, and we are diverse as a country, but inclusivity, and my friend Ahmed Hussein says this all the time, inclusivity is a completely different thing. It's one thing to have diversity, we do. It's another thing to be invited to the dance. It's another thing to actually be included at the table. And I spent, in my former career, a lot of the time, and I have to tell you, and I'm being very honest because I'm amongst friends, I wanted to run sometimes. It was hard. And I spent a lot of my time as a first, as an only, trying to break down doors, always looking back saying, okay, who's coming next? Which kid can I mentor? So many, thousands of kids came through the newsroom at CTV, was able to mentor so many people. I call them kids, but I'm thinking of people like Brandon Gomez. I'm thinking of Kayla. I'm thinking of so many people you see now, they're great, who I was able to mentor. And they tell you the same thing, but that's hard when you're an only, and it's hard because there's not anybody else that you can go to. And so what I did in my career and what I continue to do now is be what I didn't have. And so mentorship of young people is huge. I was, I have to tell you, the Prime Minister knew me well. He knew me as a reporter, and he knew me as a reporter who asked some real tough questions. And so I honestly was surprised when I got the call, I have to tell you, because I never minced my words. And I said to him, when we had a conversation, you know who you're coming to get, right? Because I have a pretty loud voice, and I use it, and I'm very serious about the people I represent, and I'm not about letting people down. Our team isn't perfect. We're far from perfect. But we want to be here, and have been here, and want to serve you well. And I said, so you know who you're coming to get. I'm going to speak up. I'm coming with lived experience, and that's what I'm bringing to the cabinet table. And he said, the country needs you, is what he said. I said, I don't know about all that, but Toronto Centre needs me, and this is where I want to be. So that's it. Mentorship on you and youth. I see Fouad. He was like, legend, right? Legend. And so many of you in this room, oh my gosh, right? Saraya, oh my like everybody, I look around and I've had so many conversations with so many of you, and it's always centered around the young
Let's
people.
not forget Miguel.
And absolutely, Miguel, absolutely, and said hi right away. Like, too many to name, really, right? Because all of you to a person, I have had conversations with most of you about our young people and all that, like, I say our because I feel like it's mine too. Our communities have gone through, right? We've had serious loss, right? And I know we're at a time where people think, oh, government, politicians, what are you doing? And I so get that. Because I was the person who threw a mic in their face and said, what really are you doing for people? And now I'm on the other side, right? And I understand. And I talk to kids all the time who have said to me, yeah, but really, like, you're all the same, right? And then I have to tell this story and tell them, I don't know about anybody else, but I can tell you what I'm doing.
Well, maybe they're used to empty promises. That's
Maybe.
why from a lot of.
Maybe. Well, they are. It's not even maybe. They are,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not even a maybe. Like, they are, right? And it's
'Cause I grew
so,
up with empty promises from the government. You know, I'm almost 60, so.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. So me too.
So when
By the way.
someone actually cares, they go,
Yeah.
okay, what up with this? Why does she really care?
Yeah.
Do you understand?
No, oh
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I more
yeah,
than
yeah,
understand,
yeah.
and we're not that far apart in age, so I hear you.
Yeah.
And before I left Bell, I was getting an early retirement package, and I said, I'm gonna run instead.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, right? So we're not that far apart in age, and I get
Yeah.
it, because I asked all of those questions as a journalist,
Mhm.
right? But the thing is, and I'm not even about to say, hey, perfection here, but like, we're here, and
Yeah.
want to continue to be here and work on things. And this is our level of government. It's all levels of government. I think people are tired of infighting. People are tired about, hey, you're orange, hey, you're green, hey, you're red. They don't care
Yeah, 'cause
anymore.
we
You're
the
blue.
people
They don't care
Yeah.
who, you know, is in charge of whatever provincially, or they just want things to work. They want to live. Kids want to live. They want to know that they've got a
They have a
chance
voice.
and they have a voice and they matter. It's really the privilege of my life. The title is all those things, but it's the youth part. You know, women obviously too, but the youth part that I am so grateful for.
Woman power.
I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
I really am, because I think I know we can bring some change, and it's not going to be easy. It's not, and there's been so much loss. But there's some change, and I'm going to end on this because I will speak for 2 hours, and we don't want that. But I will end on this, that one of the first things they have these committees, right, in Parliament. So there's a committee that oversees my ministry, and it's called FIWO. And so I had to appear before this committee, and we were talking about young people, we were talking about youth, and I was explaining that when I became the Minister of Youth, and in the backdrop of all that had happened, the loss that we had seen in Regent, in Toronto Centre, all of the things, gunfire, like so much loss. The first thing that I asked was, what does youth mean? Like, what age are we talking about? What does that mean? And I was told 15 to 29, because I was told that was the UN model. And I said, that's far too late. I said, my kids have been lost by then. Like 15 is far too late. So one of the things that we're implementing and have implemented right away, and it's coming through, because I know, like, I have a 10-year-old, and I know middle school, right? I know it's 10, 11, 12 where things turn, right? And kids are in the street, and they're making decisions about the street. And I know that. And I have a 10-year-old boy. I know that. And so one of the things that I'm implementing and have, and it's being implemented now, is that we lowered the age. And so instead of 15, it's 12. And it's 12 because I thought, if we're gonna do this, we have to do it the right way, and we have to know how we're impacting people and how we can impact them at the age they need us to be there for them at. And so this is something that we're doing with a couple of the programs that we have within my ministry, and they're going to be pilot projects, because that's how it works with government. They're like, yeah, let's see how this works, and call it right, and then it's going to work, and it will, and then we're going to do full implementation, right? That's the hope, but it's grassroots stuff. It's things like that, and that's what I mean about having a certain voice, right? Because I've seen stuff. Like I saw what happened when I was growing up in grade 7 and 8, which was middle school for us, and some kids that, you know, never made it to high school because we lost them. Kids that like I honestly, it wasn't too long ago. I looked at my class picture, and this was my favorite teacher in grade 2. Her name was Miss Kerr, and I've been in touch with her for a lot of just to thank her because she always told me that I could do stuff. She always made me feel like I could do anything, made me read and do all the things. And she said you were always curious, and obviously you became a journalist, so that worked. But she did, and I wanted to thank her because she's retired now. But I looked at the class picture, and honestly, like a lot of the kids in that picture aren't with us anymore, and that was grade 2. And I was like, I said, Miss Kerr, what happened to Omar? Miss Kerr, what happened to Jamal? Miss Kerr, and I'm so serious, okay? And they're gone. They're gone, or they're incarcerated. That's the reality, right? And that was a grade 2 picture. So I know we lose our kids early, right? And it's devastating, devastating. Nika?
I want to thank your government yesterday's announcement of $12.3 million to battle the long-standing issue of gun violence, which is tackling the roots of violence, poverty. I think we can do more than that. $12.3 million is not enough. Many of us, we still are on ODSP and Untitled Works. That's how we feed our families. Our kids deserve better. And I see sad stories. I spoke this matter at City Council, and I told the mayor right straight to his face. Mm-hmm. It's shameful that that guns are now given to kids of 14, 15 years old. That shouldn't be that way.
But this is what, Miguel, and you see the ages you're mentioning?
Yes.
And it's even lower than that,
Yeah,
because
so,
you see the crimes that are being committed, and it's like, oh, it was a 12-year-old.
Exactly.
And you go, what is going on? What was a 12-year-old doing with a gun?
So we have to address the poverty issues. In Regent Park, 40% still live in poverty. So if we lift up people up by increasing the ODSP rates, the disability rates, I'm sure we'll go farther to ensure that we don't have to mourn another young life.
That I absolutely agree. No, I will. I agree, and I would add one more thing, Miguel, and that would be food, right?
Yeah.
Food security. Like that's top of mind for me, right? And it's something that I'm looking at, and there will be more on that. But it's food security because yes, Regent. But I was in St. Jamestown a couple hours ago, right? And I told you that's where I'm from. And I know, and I see like the lineups around the corner, right? When the food trucks come and food's handed out, and Josephine, right? And Josephine, what Josephine's doing, and all of the things, like that's a huge, huge problem when people can't eat, right? So it's the food, you're right, and it's about raising people up. But the very, very, very base is food and shelter. And if we can't give people food and shelter, right, and make sure they have food and shelter, we're in a lot of trouble. But you're absolutely right.
And what I find too, because I've lived in Regent Park for 25 years, when kids see their parents struggling to make ends meet, they think, okay, I can go on the street and sell some drugs.
And bring it home, the money.
And I can sell some drugs, I can do this, I can do that, I can prostitute myself to, or whatever, so that my mom, or whoever I'm with, doesn't have to struggle so hard so we can eat tonight.
That's right.
I've seen it.
Oh,
I've
me
seen
too.
it
Me too.
And then it goes the wrong way, and they get addicted to something, and then it
spirals,
causes
right?
heartache, and it's just
it's a spiral. It's a continuous
because
spiral.
they don't want to see their mother or whoever suffering to put food on the plate.
And that's where intervention before, right? All of that, right? And the food scarcity and helping the mom put the food on the plate. But that's where the intervention before, when those kids, and boy, I've worked with so many of them, right? Like it's the intervention is you are someone, right? You can be something, be proud of who you are, and be proud of what you can contribute in this world, right? and know that
You
when
don't
you're...
have to have chandeliers on the ceiling to have a good home.
No, you don't.
A home
Because
is
I sure
love,
didn't grow up in
right?
that way. No, you don't,
Yeah.
right? And so a home is love. That's what a
Yes,
home
exactly,
is, right?
love,
It doesn't
yeah.
need, right? But they need to know that at 7 and 8 and 9 and
Yeah,
10,
yeah.
right? And know that because that's missing. That's
Yeah, yeah,
missing, right? And you're so right. Kids will do. I know my kids. Oh my gosh, my son's 10. He'd do anything, and I know that. He would never sit there and want to see me struggle ever. He calls himself the man of the house.
My son did it.
That he's 10.
My 14-year-old worked at the X and would bring home money. I go, I don't want your money, son.
Right?
But he
because
did
he
because he saw.
and they have
Until I
empathy.
started working at Double Take and becoming a security guard and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know.
But
what I
you're
mean?
right.
So kids see what they see.
you're absolutely right, and they're
Yeah.
full of
and mothers
empathy.
try to hide it.
But they know.
They know.
They know.
They
Kids
know.
see. They listen, and they're so
Like we're having
honest.
hamburger helper again today. I'm
Right?
sorry.
No, but it's true.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have Marwan. After Marwan, we're going to continue with our what we were doing, and then we have to let Amanda continue with her workshop. Yes. Thank you. Go, Marwan.
Marcy, I just want to say thank you very much.
I can see they don't have the air on,
Being
right?
here.
There's no air conditioning on.
I just wanted to remind everybody that today is actually the 40th anniversary where we lost Javante Smart. Otherwise
Thanks for
known
that
as Smart
reminder.
Dog. His parents and family and friends are not here today. They're actually at the memorial. Just trying to kind of remember.
Thank
But
you
I just
for
want to
that.
say that I can speak this from a person in an organization who have supported us in so many ways. You have leveraged youth in this neighborhood. You've given them employment opportunities. Your work is absolutely amazing. I don't know how to say thank you. But
It's
I'm
team.
really
No,
appreciate
you're
it.
so lovely. But I so appreciate that, right? But it's really not about that. But I'll tell you, I'm really proud of the team that we have, and just like Jen and Sab are here today. But I will just say this, that when we were putting people in place, right, as far as team, I was like, skills can be taught, empathy can't be taught, kindness can't be taught. So let's go with the empathy and kindness first, right? And I'm so proud of this team, right? And then we'll go with the other stuff. If they don't have the skills, we'll work on that. But let's go with the kindness and the empathy first. So I'm glad. I'm glad. Okay. Mary Campbell. Mary Campbell. I talked about legends earlier. I did. No, I'm so proud to present this to you, and they've allowed me to do this. But I'm going to show everybody what it looks like and what it says. This is Regent Park Safety Network. It's a certificate of appreciation for you, Mary. And it's for supporting and kindly, see the word kindly? And kindly assisting the Regent Park Safety Network. June 30th, 2022. Thank you. Okay, friends, Saraya, stop looking at your phone. Come on, stop looking down, because I know she's in shock. She's like, don't call me up here, Marcy. But Saraya, come on up, friends. Yes. Are you going to say one? Okay.
What is happening?
So here's what's happening. Inez is going to explain why after I present these, but I wanted to present these. So like Mary, this certificate is proudly presented to you, Saraya, for supporting and kindly assisting. Saraya's going, I'm going to kill you guys. The Regent Park Safety Network.
Oh, thank
And
you,
no,
guys.
you're amazing.
I just want to say I'm so proud of you guys. I could retire now. Thank you.
Last but not least, look at Fuad hiding in the corner. Fuad, stop hiding in the corner, right? I have to tell you, I'm so proud to present these because at the very beginning, a couple of years ago, like we were the people I met and talked to in the middle of a pandemic and said, so I know you don't know me, but this is why I want to run and I really want to serve and I need all your advice and like all of the things. And Fuad, oh my gosh, right? Like you're the real deal. And when I talk about heart and empathy for kids, you do anything for your kids, right? For our kids. And I've seen that and I know that. And on behalf of all of them, and on behalf of the Regent Park Safety Network, this is just a small token. So I'll read it. It says the same thing, but still so special. Regent Park Safety Network, this is a certificate of appreciation to you, FOAD, for supporting and kindly assisting the Regent Park Safety Network, for all that you do, and all the times, I'm sure all three of you probably think, am I making a difference? Right? Like all of you, right? Am I making a difference? Am I really having an impact? Like, who really cares? I'm at my wit's end, but you get up and you stand up the next day and you come back and you serve and you do it with empathy, and we appreciate that. So thank you. Thank
The reason why we gave this 3 certificate to 3 special people, because as you guys know, Soraya, Lloyd, and Haja, we are learning along this path. This is why with this SDP grant, they have taught us, teaching us along the way, and they have spent millions of hours with us how to organize and how to do things. And this is why we want to do this for other TCAC tenants, to do the same what we're doing. This is why we do this, because we are very grateful to 3 of you, the amount of support and help in every aspect, the learning, the patient, and I know I give you guys a lot of hard time. No, we need to do this, we need to do that, and all that stuff, but we're all very grateful with 3 of you, the amount of support throughout this. There was TCAC staff, but as you guys know, they were not there for a year or so. So they really took it on and gave us all the support that we needed. So we're very grateful, and we have learned so much through their vision and eyes. Sorry?
That's right, right? I was just gonna say, right? Like here, they always say heroes never think they are, right? And Inez, seriously, Lloyd, Haja, like you never think you are, because you're just serving. But honestly, the 3 of you too. Okay?
We're learning.
The 3 of you too, right? Yeah, like thank you so much.
But we want to encourage other tenants to take this lead, what we're doing, for them to take this on further on, right? So that's why I said, speaking with confidence, don't let that stop you. Even if we have a language barrier, don't let that stop you. Your voice is valid like anybody else.
I think the city should be coming and see you guys, how proud the money that they spent. And
We
they
did
see
invited
that.
them,
Yep,
but they
should be
couldn't
seeing
come.
This.
There's a video, so we will send the video.
Yeah,
taking
this is
video.
example of where the money that they spent and where it went, accountability, transparency.
Yes.
This is what it is. And I just want to thank you guys and for commitment and dedication toward the community members as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marcy. And I just want to say thank you to Marcy for taking a bit of her time off her busy schedule. Because when I did message, I go, you better come, please.
I know.
You better not say no.
And I got scared. No, I did. But I will tell you, I was literally, and I got really scared. I was literally pulled into a cabinet meeting, and I am not even kidding. I said, I have to go. I have to be downtown. I promised someone I'd be there. I literally left the cabinet meeting and rushed over, and they were like, and I had staff in the ministry going, Minister, are you sure? Like, is that a good idea? I was like, I have to go. Because when Inez calls, right, or Sarah Inez, I'm like, I have to be there, not missing any of it. So it's my privilege and it's my pleasure. And listen, I don't want ever to be too, or feel for any that I'm too far away or our team is too far away. Like, honestly, I'm good with any constructive criticism, whatever. I just want us to fix it and to address it and to be able to have good conversation and so much respect as well, right? Like we've got to work together, guys, right? And I'll tell you, and I say all the time, you have so much power. People don't realize how much power they have. I used to say this in news. People would say, hey, why is it that Jane Finch or Scarborough, Malvern, and Glendower, which is where my neighborhood in Scarborough, Like, why it's always bad news on the news? Why aren't you reporting good news stories, right? And I'd say, when they'd call, do you know how much power you have? Can you please call back? And I'm gonna forward all this and talk to the editor. Phone, let me tell you, I'm giving you the news assignment desk number. And because you watch, that means money. That means advertising dollars, your viewers, you have power, right? So when Inez says, you know, you are here and you have power, your voice has power, doesn't matter what language you speak, you do. There's power in people, there is. And we forget that sometimes because we think, who's gonna listen? But believe me, people will listen, especially when you do it collectively. So don't forget that, okay?
Thank you.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and check out all of our social media platforms. For more information, check out our website.